How you guys doing today? How'd trading go? Stop loss. Yeah, I mean it happens. Part of the game, right? Can't be winning every day. All right. Well, that's the only feedback I'm getting from you guys, so I'm guessing it wasn't all too good. Stop loss for you too, Nick. All right, at least we're being consistent. Today was not the easiest day, because there were two possible outcomes, at least in my eyes. So we're gonna be looking at it specifically. I'm glad I'm seeing some people who had some good days as well. It's pretty good to hear. All right, but enough rambling. Let's get right into it. All right. So, what, well, as I said, today was not the cleanest day in my eyes. But when you look at the daily range, right? If we look real quick, we had a 519 handle range. But most of that move to happen, I think it was 250 handles happened at 4 p.m. right here on the 4 p.m. handle. The rest of the day was pretty clear from a, let's just call it, lower time frame standpoint. Long term, as I stated, I was looking for a continuation lower. And on ES, our objective was really clear. This fair value gap, I wanted to see price push lower. But Nasdaq hadn't yet reached its objective, which is what I'm looking at, this fair value gap, possibly this order block, but prioritizing this volume imbalance and fair value gap. So with that objective not being met, there was also the possibility of us continuing higher to dig further back in the premium of this range. So because we had those two possible outcomes, that is a time where I tell a beginner to just stay away. Oh, well, there's two things that are possible. Just don't even try. Stay away. Wait until it gets clear. But once you get more experience, you learn how to handle such situations. For myself, I waited for our news event, which was 10 a.m. I'm going to go straight to 1 minute chart because, well, here. If we dive deeper, what do we see? We had a nice new day opening gap, manipulation lower, which if I just show you guys right here, this swing point, and if I go to the left for this one, we had SMT form at these levels. So I'll just mark it out so that it's easier to see for you guys. This swing right here. So we did have SMT form on the early morning lows. So that was before the 10 a.m. news. So when I see a nice Judas swing in that sense, right? I had a nice Judas swing lower with the 8:30 news pushing us, forming SMT like this. I don't expect my 10 a.m. power of 3 to be super clear. Sorry, I was confused at what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at the right day. All right. Well, 8:30 a.m. news made things difficult for traders. That drop. Yeah, it was a pretty aggressive drop and it was all low resistance. So what do you anticipate after low resistance? Well, you anticipate high resistance liquidity run. But the true objective for me was those equal highs right here. As you guys saw from my executions, I tried a short here. I thought we were going to go to these lows, sweep these lows before going higher, but we went straight away. So I got stopped out right here, tried a short early, but then got that long. How could you notice it? Well, you're looking at 10 a.m., right? And if I just pop out my little news setting right here, you're looking at 10 a.m. power of 3. When we flip that opening price, what kind of, you know what, fuck it, let's call it a pattern. What kind of pattern is that? What kind of order is it? It's open, low. You would anticipate it to expand to a high with this logic in mind. So that's your 10 a.m. opening price. I'm just going to mark it out really quickly for you guys to see. 10 a.m. right here. So we had our news, manipulation lower, taking out liquidity. Where? Where in what? Where in relation to premium and discount? Well, we were at equilibrium on the open, pretty much. And that was a retracement into discount. Was there a clear inefficiency here? No, not in a 1 minute chart. You go to a 5 minute and you look at the exact same place, We're just digging back into an order block respecting an inversion fair value gap. So I'm going to mark that out. It's a 5-minute fair value gap. Let me just add a little I in front of it right here. So we have our beautiful 5-minute inversion, and let's look at how we utilized it on our 1 minute, right? Of course, we had time distortion through multiple times also. But that's why you always got to be looking at all your time frames, right? And when I say all your time frames, I'm not saying look at 20 different things. Here's the simplest logic I can give for anyone. I have my long-term time frames, which are what? My monthly and weekly chart. I have my daily, which is exactly that. It's my daily time frame. Day to day, week to week, that is the time frame that I utilize the most for bias and direction. Then I have my 4-hour, which is only used when the daily is too much stuck in a range, right? When it's stuck trading between highs and lows, trading between liquidity and tight range days, I'm going to dive down to a 4-hour to gain more insight. Same thing goes with the 15 and the 5. So intraday, I'm going to be looking at the 15, and I only dive down in the 5 when it's a small range. This in a 15-minute chart is not much. Well, this 100 handle move, yes, sure, but I was talking about this little piece, right? So going on a 5-minute chart, I gain more insight into what's going on. And as you can see, we tapped into this. We had to wait for news. Once time aligned with price, we went down before going up. Why? Because that's how it works. To change from a sell model to a buy model, you have to first take out sell side liquidity. So we took out sell side, inverted this one tick fair value gap, I believe. Yes, no. That looks pretty equal to me, actually. Never mind, there was no fair value gap at this specific level, but we had our beautiful power of 3, right? You have your accumulation right here. You can see it from a tight range, your manipulation, and of course, as you are saying, Wolfe, I believe is how I say your name, you have the 950 to 1010 macro. Everything aligns. Exactly like I just said, when time and price align, you have your high impact news driver within a key algorithmic macro where power 3 aligns, your open low high close is in line with your higher time frame objective. And then if you look to the left, for me, I have the execution that's going to be posted probably around tomorrow, but I had all this low resistance liquidity right here. If I can find my template, thank you, all this low resistance liquidity. So this was my low hanging fruit. Once we got to this high, I thought that even if we're going to flip it, we're going to have to retrace very deep. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. You can say it's hindsight as much as you want. I have the execution getting ready for tomorrow. And if you dive deeper and you actually start utilizing standard deviations on these levels, you'll notice that this was actually, I was looking at 1.5 and I was 2 to 2.5, sorry, and I was utilizing the bodies right here. So this 1.5 standard deviation was going to start for a retracement. And if you see deeper right here, we barely tapped into 2 to 2.5 and then continued higher towards our equal highs. So it was very clean. Personally, I did not get a runner out there. So I really wanted it. I had my runner break even. I knew it was going to keep going up, but I did not want it to revisit that 10 a.m. open. So I got stopped out right here on my final runner. And I also flipped the position, actually. I flipped the position and I did not go long again. As I said, there's some pictures in general, but I'm going to be sharing the execution tomorrow with you guys on this new path to complete and utter transparency. But to get back to that specific setup, if we can call it that specific move, it was very clear, but it did not offer much entry. That's where ES was a little better. I'm looking specifically at this gap right here, which inverted and actually did not close above at any point. So I was going to say there was a nice entry here, but it was way later actually utilizing this gap. So even ES actually just did not give much retracement into internal range liquidity. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat right now. You guys can't get pissed for missing trades. Never. Ever, ever, ever. That's just look at the little clip I posted today. Right? You can never be pissed at missing trades because there's always going to be a next one. And if you're in here for the long run, if you're in here to actually change your life, then it should not matter what one day happens. What happens on one day, sorry. It should never, never matter to you because you're always going to have the next day, you're going to have the next week, you're going to have the next month. I could lose for 2 weeks straight and not care because I know that one or two trades can take that all that stuff back. Can you go over what range is real quick? Yeah, for sure, Cho. You'll see if you actually go to my standard deviation thread on Twitter, you'll see I have a pretty clear explanation of ranges and breaker blocks within the Notion document. So you just go to the thread. The first post under the thread is the Notion document. There are some picture examples, a bunch of stuff. Just while I'm going to be before I'm going to be releasing my model, that's probably best bet for you. But when I look at a range, because there are multiple types of ranges, there are multiple explanations for ranges. When I look at it, I looked at the simplest explanation possible, which is from any swing point to any swing point. What is a swing point? Swing high and swing low, three candle pattern. Swing high has a lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. Swing low, same thing, but the opposite. I have a low, higher low, higher low. And I'm looking at one candles, I'm looking at three candle patterns. So this is a range, this is a range, and I'm not going to go in depth at the moment about how I utilize ranges because it is super complex once you start getting into it. There is so much stuff to look at when looking at ranges. But the primary utilization for ranges is premium and discount. Always will be. This little thing you see with a line in the middle is premium and discount. So you want to refer to if you want to learn what ranges are, just refer to daily ranges. So draw out from the high of the day to the low of the day and see how the next day utilizes said range. That is a very good exercise to teach you about premium and discount. I was in short for the news driver and stopped out for my trailing. Yeah, I personally do not trade before news. That's why I'm not reviewing any of the price action from a whatever, all that stuff, because I never trade until the last high impact news event. And my average time in trades is an hour, and I don't like being stuck to, oh, I have to close my trade because there's a news coming. So because of that, I always wait for the last one specifically and only trade on high probability trading days. I'm sorry I'm plugging so much right now, but if you want to know about that, just head to my Twitter as well. Head to my highlights page. I did a whole thread about the economic calendar and how I utilize it. There's also a PDF there. But enough advertising in here. Except for this setup, I did not see anything worthy. Why? Because I don't recommend, at least to beginners, to be trading the lunch macro. Out of I think I had 50 backtests in one document, and there was one trade that was during the lunch macro. So don't be scared of missing out on the lunch macro. Truth is the only way I can see to reach this objective is if you entered early. Other than that, I'm not going to be interested at all. And see, I missed the turtle soup on this one because I tried going short first. Usually I would have had a turtle soup and had one contract break even. Probably got very close to stopped out, reached all the way there. But I had a later entry more towards the high of this candle, right? Closer to my first contract was actually on the 10 a.m. open, I believe. But yeah, enough looking back, right? I posted my journal today. I kind of went the wrong way a little, but I managed to adjust. Did you guys have any questions about what I said, right? I'm not even going to dive into the afternoon because as you can see, the whole afternoon, all I did is try to keep expanded, retrace deep, try to keep expanded, barely take out the high, retrace deep, and then 4 p.m. does whatever the fuck it wants, right? I'm always concentrating on what the move was for me on that specific day. And for me, it was this move up to go back and reach this original consolidation, right? I marked out the equal highs, but there's also the liquidity above these highs right here, which was current high of day at the time, had super clean daily accumulation, manipulation lower, SMT confirmed by lower time frame SMT as well, and then market maker buy model higher. There was just this retracement that was a little too deep for my liking. So other than that, everything was perfect. I'm waiting to see if any of you guys are typing questions in here. I dive into as low as the 15-second chart sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too, 100%. I always execute on the 15-second actually. So nothing new there, but see, that's the type of stuff I don't want to be showcasing because that's not the type of stuff I would recommend to a starting trader. I didn't start on the 15-second. I did start on the 1 minute, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. And people who are shit talking the 1 minute are only doing that because it's popular to do so. It's not your move that you're trading with a 5 minute entry. I'm trading and I'm getting triple DR because I'm trading it in a 15-second time frame. I'm trading the same move with the same higher time frame understanding. Top down. I'm going from a 6-month chart all the way down to a 15, and I'm trading that same move. There's proof. I have executions everywhere, right? So I'm not talking out my ass right now. Sorry, that just hit a nerve. I keep seeing people saying, "Oh, anyone who trades the 1 minute chart, people are addicted to a 1 minute chart." Like, just no, stop. You have your way of doing it. I have my way of doing it. I'm not blaming you for having the wrong way. I'm not thinking myself a superior because I'm trading a 15-second chart. I'm just asking you to respect my way like I respect yours. But as you guys will see, there's not much decency in the trading space. Let's thrive to change that a little. I wrote a little text in the orientation if you want to go and read that, Joe, but I haven't been trading for super long. I just don't want to start getting into my life story and how I got here because I wrote down a whole text on orientation, and I see that you're new. I'm very glad to have you with us tonight. There's a lot of frequent comers, so they've heard my story 1,000 times. I find 1 hour and 5 minute is all I need. Recently started going into the 1 minute. Yeah, for me, it's the time frames I told you guys about, right? I have no issue with people who are using higher time frames to execute. Like, for example, on my personal account, I swing trade and enter on a 1 hour or 15-minute time frame. And I'm profitable there too, right? So there's multiple ways to make money. For me, it wasn't just about making money, it was about more, let's call it more than that, right? I had a need to be better. And the only way to do that without basically, if I want to trade a 300 handle move, I don't want to have a 50 handle stop. For me, at least, there's no matter what you guys want, right? It's just for me, that's what I wanted. So how do you get the most return out of that? Well, by having the tightest stop, because it's not going to do more than 300 handles no matter what time frame you're looking at. So you need a tighter stop. How do you get more precise, have a tighter stop? By going into lower time frames. But there's definitely more noise. It's definitely harder to handle because you have to always be looking at the big picture, always looking at all your charts at the same time. Like here, I'll show you guys. That's my layout provided by the 15-second looks horrible at this time, but provided by 2 degrees, sorry. So that's actually his layout. He sent it my way. Very appreciative. I have my 1 minute here, 15 seconds, sometimes breaking it down to a 5-second. ES 15-second here. This one I switch between 5 and 15. This one switches between 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily with 4 hour power of 3 whenever I'm in the hourly time frame. That's the layout, which is not bad at all. Okay. Sorry, I'm just recentering my brain. But on that note, do you guys have any final questions for this? Sorry if I was a little all over the place tonight. I'm very tired trying to bring this, trying to get the model out for you guys. So I was a little all over the place. It's not always this back and forth. All clear. For sure, Wolfie. Awesome. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. All right, well, on that note, then, guys, I'll wish you an awesome night, and we'll speak more tomorrow. There's going to be another price action review since tomorrow's trading starts at 10 a.m. You guys have a great one.